There's much to report on Revista this week, with the headline item from the weekend being that if there are any things which are as execrably bad as some of Spain's referees and their decisions, it's Rayo Vallecano's pitch and the state of Barcelona's form right now. All three are stinkingly bad. Honking phooey, if you want. But let's start at the top of La Liga, that is. You probably watched it, but Los Blancos scored 2, might have scored 8, and the Madrid-biased reporters went into paroxysms about their referee. But the headline was, unquestionably, the spark in the play which Xabi Alonso's team is beginning to generate. Beating Mallorca 2-1, having trailed to a terrific Vedat the Pirate Murici header, Alonso's team cut loose. Now, for entertainment junkies, this was a sugar high. Not full of grown-up match control, but Vinicius strutted, Mbappé looked like he was going to get a cricket score of goals, Trent Alexander went from carbolic soap to imperial leather in his performance, and top marks probably went to either Arda Güler or young Alvaro Carreras, who was catnip. Mbappé posted a wordless but caustic social media image late on Saturday night, reproducing the VAR computer image of his offside, as if to suggest sucks to anybody who invented this and sucks to anybody who thinks that by having my forehead a quarter of a millimetre ahead of the defender is gaining an advantage. Kylian, I sympathise. But as long as no one doctored the image, then factually, the refereeing team did their job correctly, as they did when they ruled out another Real Madrid goal because the ball had touched Arda's arm immediately before Los Blancos tucked it away. Another example of how the refs got it right but ended up as whipping boys because A, much of the Madrid media is outright biased, and B, the law is an ass. Really, the type of involuntary contact of which the young Turk was found guilty shouldn't be enough to disallow a goal. Sympathy again, but there you have it. Now look, this edition of Revista de la Liga is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. I use Surfshark VPN for internet security, and I've got a great deal to help you do the same coming up. What's a VPN? A virtual private network. It protects your online life, it stops websites tracking you, it stops you being overcharged because of your location, and socios, it means you can use your existing subscriptions to watch football even when you're traveling internationally. No more dodgy streams. Now, I just tell Surfshark VPN to change my location to Spain, and wherever I am in the world, I can access the same games as I would if I was sitting at home in Barcelona. So you, visiting Spain to see your favourite team? Do you know that some websites change the price that they show you depending on your location? Did you know that? Not with Surfshark VPN. It's a secret travel hack that will save you money. There are loads more benefits, and Surfshark also provide additional security through other products including Surfshark Antivirus and Surfshark Search, a safe ad-free search engine. Join me by adding Surfshark VPN to your defense. Go to surfshark.com/Revista4 and you'll get 4 months of extra protection as a bonus, and you'll be supporting this show. So make the best signing for your internet defense and claim 4 months extra protection by going to surfshark.com/Revista, then the number 4. Now, with the help of Surfshark, because we got to keep moving on with the show. Victory at the Bernabeu meant Madrid keeping pace with the only other 100% team, Ernesto Valverde's Athletic. The Lions won at Betis 2-1 in front of 65,000 fans. Los Verde Blancos' temporary move to play at La Cartuja, the cup final stadium, for the next 2 years can be hugely successful and lucrative while the Benito Villamarín is being rebuilt. Just so long as they add some quality to their squad, even if that's only registering some of their signings successfully with La Liga or getting the rest of them fit. Espanyol played quite nicely in winning 1-0 against Osasuna. Girona are petrifyingly weak and lost at home to a brisk, efficient Sevilla. The Panda 8-headed and left Villarreal without the 3 points they thought they were taking from Celta, while promoted fellas Oviedo and Elche both won. Yeah. The highlights of both games, aside from pretty tasty goals, were either the Elche team arm in arm being serenaded by the emotional and disbelieving faithful at their home stadium, having beaten Levante that is, and Oviedo's winning goal scorer Hassan Hussein absolutely bollocking Coach Paunovic during the moments which are usually reserved for celebrating the fact that you've just scored a goal. The Egyptian clearly yelled at his manager, "Fucking put me on the bench, will you? I'll fucking show you." Hero of the moment though he was, it's fun to reflect on the fact that the striker has clearly forgotten that when he came off that subs bench last week, he pretty immediately gave the ball away for Madrid's second goal. How quickly they forget, such larks. Anyway, finally for now, there's Rayo's 1-1 draw with champions Barcelona. The quick match summary is Barcelona again looked utter tosh, disinterested, sloppy, partially fit, and they deserve to be beaten. That's 3 matches in a row now. Something's wrong. Rayo were devilishly daring, delightfully dashing, looked like scoring long before they did. And remember Ruffetti of Valencia fame? He scored Valencia's winner at Anfield about 20 years ago. Well, it was his kid, Fran, who finally put Rayo on terms long after they merited it. But it came against a mad background. Rayo president Martin Presa, absolutely hated by his club fans, particularly the hardcore Bucaneros, gave an ugly pre-match media interview during which he shat on them. He called them uneducated, uninformed drunks. It was a declaration of war, one which the hardcore fans answered with improvised banners behind the goal, calling him out. And frankly, the president should have been thankful to the refereeing team for taking the heat decidedly off him. They gave Lamine a non-existent penalty, which VAR couldn't review because it wasn't working. And then it was, and then it wasn't again. They didn't stop the match to fix it. They just played on with the lottery of fate and kismet, deciding which moments and challenges were possible to be reviewed and which weren't. The pitch was an utter fucking disgrace. Rayo, unable to use their training ground for whatever reason, are training on the match pitch. But if you just look at these images there, that's a club which doesn't care about whether their or opposition players are going to go over their ankle or pull a hamstring. It's utterly unacceptable by anyone's standards. You wouldn't put school kids out on that bench. Back to the referee. Mr. Busquets Ferrer didn't do well on Sunday night at Vallecas, better than VAR referee González Fuertes, who admittedly is one of Spain's worst 2 officials, because he allowed Atleti's goal, scored by Giuliano Simeone, from an offside position to stand. The wheels got in motion, albeit pretty slowly, and González Fuertes, who was due to be the assistant VAR ref almost immediately afterwards for the Madrid-Mallorca game, was hooked, even though it was late enough for him to have been announced as part of the spectacle when the 2 teams were released for the Bernabeu match. Now that was slow by his bosses to deal out justice because González Fuertes' offence had taken place a couple of hours previously. But this is the ref who, before the Copa final last season, slagged off Real Madrid TV for their constant attacks on referees and who warned that the officials were in the process of setting up their own union, at which point everybody better look out because they'd be in the power seat. Error or not for Atleti's goal, and it was, his enemies had waited for the first opportunity to trample over this guy who looks like Gianni Infantino's doppelganger, and they didn't hold back. He was humiliated publicly, torn to shreds in the media, and he's been put in purda, the Spanish media call it being put in the freezer, the nevera, for at least 1, maybe 2 rounds of matches. He's on the naughty step. Others will join him for sure, with Oviedo's Hussein, the Rayo president and groundsman Diego Simeone for the awful nick of his team, and probably me for being so boisterous and unrestrained with my language. All the same, you love it. Stay tuned.